This was the most terrifying and provocative work of the late master, one that split audiences and critics into two irreconcilable camps. If you're ready to peer into the darkest soul of Russian cinema, stay with us. Welcome to the Just Sneak channel. Don't forget to subscribe, because today we're not just analyzing a movie, we're dissecting a genuine cultural diagnosis that still defines the face of modern Russia. You have no idea how Balabanov's Cargo 200 shattered the lives of its actors. Our subject today is Cargo 200 Russia, 2007, directed by Alexei Balabanov. From the very first minutes, this film plunges the viewer into the nightmare of a provincial Soviet town. The fates of the actors who agreed to take part in this project turned out to be truly tragic. Alexei Balabanov, who played the main role of the maniac and had no formal acting education, sank so deeply into the character that after filming ended, he went on a 2-week bender and died just 3 years after the premiere. Another actor, Yuri Stepanov, died in a car crash, and Alexei Serebryakov, who played the moonshiner, called the film talented, vampire-like cinema, and soon left Russia. Warning: the next scene might make you nauseous. Director Alexei Balabanov is a figure whom some call a genius and others an evil genius. His biography is full of contradictions. The son of the chief editor of the Sverdlovsk film studio, he served as a military translator in hotspots, including Afghanistan. Those memories forever stamped his grim, cynical view of the world. Balabanov always filmed what pissed him off, and his movies, including the cult classics Brother and Brother 2, were repeatedly accused of promoting violence and even fascism. This film is a time bomb that exploded decades later. The scandal around Cargo 200 started long before its premiere. The script was so brutal that the country's leading actors, including Yevgeny Mironov, Sergei Makovetsky, and Kirill Pirogov, refused to take part, one after another. In effect, the film was under an unofficial ban even before its release. Cinemas were afraid to screen it, and at the Kinotovar Festival it was snubbed, receiving only a scandalous prize from the Guild of Film Critics after a recount of votes. Balabanov is not just a provocateur, he is the spiritual father of Generation Z fascists. And here, we come to the most dangerous and scandalous part. Some critics and viewers directly called Balabanov's films, especially the Brother dilogy, a manifesto of Russian fascism. Balabanov himself repeatedly stated, "I have never been and never will be a fascist." But his characters, the very same Danila Bagrov, reasoned along the lines of Orn. The whole point of Cargo 200 is precisely to demonstrate the complete degradation of a person living in a system where there is neither God, nor morality, nor hope. The key accusation against this film and its creator is its destructive influence on minds. A film that shows total rot, unrelenting Chernobyl, graphic misery, and the absolute impunity of evil essentially raises a generation of cynics and nihilists. If from childhood you are taught that your homeland is hell, ruled by maniacs and freaks, you will either break or accept the rules of that game, and then nothing remains sacred, neither your own country nor someone else's life. It is precisely this lack of critical thinking, moral compass, and compassion, nurtured by such art, that today allows people to justify aggression against neighbors and the fundamentally fascist ideology of the Russian world. Real corpses and made-up stories. Truth is stranger and more horrifying than fiction. The intrigue around Cargo 200 was fueled by the director's claim that the plot was based on real events. But is that true? Journalists discovered that roughly 60% of the film's plot is borrowed from William Faulkner's novel Sanctuary, in which a girl is raped with a corncob. Balabanov transferred that story to Soviet reality to create the most disgusting image possible of a rotten system. So, is it reality or fiction? Perhaps the truth, as always, lies somewhere in the middle. And the horror is that such events really could have happened anywhere lawlessness reigns. The State Duma versus, a classic. Why Cargo 200 is still threatened with a ban 20 years later. Almost 2 decades after the film's release, passions have not subsided. In 2025, the Russian State Duma seriously discussed possible censorship and banning Balabanov's films, including Cargo 200. Deputies considered that they do not align with traditional moral and spiritual values and could harm the younger generation. This only confirms that Cargo 200 is not just a movie, but a powerful political and cultural manifesto that those in power still fear. It is precisely this fear of the truth, no matter how repulsive, that makes Balabanov a timeless figure. The film that destroyed everyone it touched. An expert analysis of Cargo 200 is an analysis of a disaster. What turned out well, despite all the chaos? Balabanov managed to create a truly unique hypnotic atmosphere of hopelessness and terror. That is his undeniable directorial triumph. But where did the film fail? In its humanity. Behind this cold, cynical experiment, there is not a drop of love for its characters. They are merely material to illustrate the thesis that man is a maniac to man. The cult of violence. How Balabanov raised a generation that couldn't care less. The scandals around the film, the actors' refusals, the cursed fates, the accusations of fascism, all of this only fueled the fire and turned Cargo 200 into a cult object. It became a symbol of free, uncompromising art that is not afraid to show the raw truth. But the price of this cult is millions of viewers for whom violence and cynicism have become the norm. Putin, Balabanov, and blood-soaked berets, an inconvenient connection. Analyzing Cargo 200, one cannot ignore its link to political reality. Many saw in this film, and in Balabanov's other works, direct parallels with the revival of imperial ambitions and a militaristic spirit in modern Russia. The images of soldiers returning as Cargo 200 from Afghanistan echo the losses in the endless wars the country wages. And if Balabanov's heroes are lost, broken people, then their spiritual heirs, raised on this cult of strength and contempt for weakness, today easily justify the killing and occupation of other nations' territories. This is the terrible legacy of a director who became a prophet of violence in his own country, a black hole at the center of the Russian soul. Cargo 200 is not just cinema. It is a black hole that tears apart the fabric of reality and sucks everything human out of it. It is a cultural phenomenon that forever changed Russian cinema, proving that shock and outrage are a commercially successful strategy. But at what cost? At the cost of the ruined lives of actors, at the cost of the viewer's moral decay, at the cost of turning art into a tool for propagating violence and misanthropy. Here on the Just Sneak channel, we believe that films like Cargo 200 are dangerous weapons. They don't heal society, they finish it off. And if you want to know the truth about who raised a generation of fascists in Russia and how they did it, re-watch this film. But remember, there is no turning back. Hit the like button if you had the courage to watch this video to the end. Subscribe so you don't miss new investigations. And in the comments tell us, do you think art should be dangerous, or is this no longer art but sabotage against one's own people?